the heir to his legacy. And a lot of that is going to depend on former President Obama himself. How does he describe Kamala Harris tonight, someone he has known for 20 years? Does he talk about her in personal ways, specific ways that allow the American public to get to know her better? And how much does he hit the campaign trail on her behalf? He tends to campaign pretty sparingly these days. Is that going to change now that Harris is at the top of the ticket, Nora?
A key question. Nancy Cordes, thank you very much. I want to bring in Robert Costa. And Robert, tonight we're also going to hear from a number of Republicans and ex-Trump officials. What will they say? What's the idea behind that?
5 total Republicans will be here at the Democratic National Convention, including Stephanie Grisham tonight, who resigned in the wake of the January 6th Capitol attack. She was former President Donald Trump's press secretary in the White House. There's a belief inside the Harris campaign that they can make inroads with traditional Republicans by having some of these Republicans on stage and raising the issue of former President Trump's conduct. On the other hand, I just spoke with former President Trump by phone. He's in Michigan today. He says whatever they're doing here doesn't really matter to him. He's reaching out on the issue of crime in Michigan, talking about immigration, and of course trying to make real connections with labor union members in the states of like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin.
Donald Trump hitting the campaign hard as well. All right, Robert Costa, thank you very much. We should note that security is tight on this second night of the convention, and that's because last night a small group of pro-Palestinian protesters broke through a security fence outside of the United Center, pepper sprayed officers and threw objects at them. 13 people were arrested, but we should note there were no serious injuries, nothing like 1968. Now to Israel, where military officials say they recovered the bodies of 6 hostages taken by Hamas in the October 7th attack. The discovery comes as Secretary of State Antony Blinken and negotiators from Egypt and Qatar work towards an agreement to stop the war and release dozens of hostages that are still believed to be alive. CBS's Rami Inocencio reports tonight from Tel Aviv.
As Blinken pushed for a ceasefire, Israel's military pounded Gaza, killing more than 50 people just since this morning, including about a dozen at a school-turned-shelter. Overnight in southern Khan Yunis, in a tunnel shaft more than 30 feet deep behind a false wall, soldiers recovered the bodies of 6 hostages abducted 10.5 months ago. 80-year-old Chaim Perry from Kibbutz Nir Oz was one of them.
How does it feel to have your father's remains home?
It's kind of relief.
Noam Perry is his daughter.
What were the words you might remember?
Noam, your father is back home. It felt weird to me because I know he will never be back. He will never be back.
Israel said that of the more than 100 hostages who remain in Gaza, 34 have been confirmed dead. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today stressed their return is a goal, but the priority is to preserve our security, and we stand by that.
What do you say to that?
The only priority is the hostages.
And Perry says she can't allow herself final closure.
Only if a deal would be made, and it should be made fast.
And Secretary Blinken is now flying back to the United States. Funerals for 3 of those hostages happen tomorrow. And while Israel and Hamas accuse each other of sabotaging ceasefire talks, they are still set for later this week in Cairo. Nora.
Rami Inocencio, thank you very much. We're learning more about the 6 people, including 2 Americans who are missing after a mega yacht sank in a powerful storm off the southern tip of Italy. The search, more than 160 feet underwater, is being made more difficult by the angle of the ship and numerous objects blocking the narrow passage to the cabins. CBS's Chris Livesay is in Rome with the latest developments.
The search is on for the missing and for answers as to how this 184-foot super yacht anchored off the coast of Sicily could capsize and sink within a minute. Surveillance footage captured its illuminated 246-foot mast right before it swallowed in a severe thunderstorm. Weather data show the moment the storm hit Sicily's coastline at 4 a.m. local time. This was the ship's last known position, anchored off Porticello. It's thought to have gone down at around 5 a.m. Rushing to the rescue was Captain Karsten Borner of a ship anchored nearby.
And then we saw a red flare.
Yeah.
So my first mate and I went to the position.
They found 15 survivors on a life raft, including a 1-year-old girl, seen here being carried by her father. The body of Chef Ricaldo Thomas was recovered. 6 people remain unaccounted for, including software magnate Mike Lynch, once described as Britain's Bill Gates, acquitted earlier this year of fraud charges in America. His 18-year-old daughter, Hannah, is also among the missing, along with Lynch's American lawyer, Chris Morvillo, and his wife, and banker Jonathan Bloomer, chairman of Morgan Stanley International. Now, it's unclear exactly how a state-of-the-art super yacht could sink in a storm like this, but climate experts say warmer sea temperatures 3 degrees higher in the Mediterranean are making deadly storms like this one more common. Nora?
Chris Livesay, thank you very much. And nearly 10 months after an Army reservist shot and killed 18 people at a bowling alley and bar in Lewiston, Maine, an independent commission says local law enforcement and the U.S. military missed multiple opportunities to potentially prevent the rampage. The commission's report says the Army Reserve failed to maintain proper psychiatric care for the gunman, and the deputies who conducted a welfare check on the shooter weeks before the shooting had sufficient cause to take him into protective custody. A lawyer for several victims says the gunman, who'd been diagnosed with mental illness, should have had his weapons taken away.
It's a simple formulation, which is a diagnosed psychosis plus possession of numerous assault weapons requires action.
The gunman was found dead by suicide 2 days after the rampage. 3 Army Reserve officers were previously disciplined following a separate investigation. There's a new study out today that links a popular weight loss drug to a higher rate of suicidal thoughts, but there are questions about the findings. CBS News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. John LaPook is here to weigh in.
Nora, there have been relatively few reported cases of patients having suicidal thoughts or actions while taking one of these drugs for weight loss. It's important to note here that obesity itself is associated with an increased risk of depression. The study out today searched a large World Health Organization database that tracks adverse drug reactions and found a possible link between suicidal thoughts and semaglutide, the active ingredient in Wegovy and Ozempic. But Nora, the study has limitations. It only looked at people who reported having a problem while on the drug. We don't know how many people were taking the drug without a problem. We also don't know what the dosage was and how long people were on it. So far, the FDA has found no link between these drugs and suicidal thoughts and actions, but it's continuing to investigate. Novo Nordisk, the maker of Ozempic and Wegovy, says it stands behind the safety of its drugs and it will continue to collaborate closely with the FDA. Today, the FDA stressed to CBS News that healthcare providers and patients should have a careful discussion of possible risks, especially in patients with a history of depression or self-harm, and that patients should be aware of the importance of reporting any change in how they're feeling. Nora?
A sober reminder, Dr. John LaPook, thank you very much. And a plane plunges into a neighborhood and goes up in flame. We've got the details next.
Still have symptoms from moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease after a TNF blocker like Humira or Remicade? Put them in check with Rinvoq. Rinvoq works differently and it's a once-daily pill.
When symptoms tried to take control, I got rapid relief with Rinvoq. Check.
When flares tried to slow me down, I got lasting steroid-free remission with Rinvoq. Check.
And when my doctor saw damage, Rinvoq helped visibly reduce damage of the intestinal lining. Check.
Rapid symptom relief, lasting steroid-free remission.
And visibly reduced damage. Check, check, and check.
Rinvoq can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB, serious infections and blood clots, some fatal. Cancers, including lymphoma and skin. Heart attack, stroke, and GI tears occurred. People 50 and older with a heart disease risk factor have an increased risk of death. Serious allergic reactions can occur. Tell your doctor if you are or may become pregnant.
Put UC and Crohn's in check and keep them there with Rinvoq.
Ask your gastroenterologist about Rinvoq and learn how AbbVie can help you save.
If you're looking for a Medicare supplement insurance plan that's smart now,
I'm 65.
And really smart later,
I'm 70-ish.
Consider an AARP Medicare supplement insurance plan from United Healthcare. With this type of plan, you'll know upfront about how much your care costs, which makes planning your financial future easier. So call United Healthcare today to learn more about the only plans of their kind with the AARP name, and set yourself and your future self up with an AARP Medicare supplement plan from United Healthcare.
Allergies? With Allegra, they won't stop me. That's because nothing beats Allegra for the fastest, non-drowsy, 24-hour allergy relief. Choose Allegra.
Refresh your space with a mid-century makeover at Ashley. During the Labor Day sale, discover statement pieces starting at $499.99. Plus, get 0% interest for 5 years on in-store purchases. No minimum purchase required. Shop more deals in-store and online.
I was born with a fire inside, but psoriasis doused my flame until I got clearer skin. With Bimzelx, you could say, I'm back. Most people got 100% clear skin, some after the first dose.
Serious side effects, including suicidal thoughts and behavior, infections, and lowered ability to fight them. Liver problems and inflammatory bowel disease have occurred. Tell your doctor if these happen or worsen, or if you've had a vaccine or plan to.
Start to get yourself back with Bimzelx.
Ask your dermatologist about Bimzelx today.
Officials in the West Texas city of Odessa are investigating a fiery plane crash today that killed 2 people on board. Witnesses told police the Cessna business jet clipped power lines, struggling to gain altitude before it plunged into a residential neighborhood and caught fire. An injured woman was rescued from a burning home. Eye on America is next.
To me, Harlem is home. But home is also your body.
Last one, everyone.
I asked myself, why doesn't Pilates exist in Harlem? So I started my own studio. Getting a brick and mortar in New York is not easy. Chase Inc. has supported us from Studio 1 to Studio 3. When you start small, you need some big help, and Chase Inc. was that for me.
Earn up to 5% cash back on business essentials with the Chase Inc. Business Cash Card from Chase for Business. Make more of what's yours.
Struggling with moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis? Talk to your doctor about #1 prescribed Entyvio, offering 2 maintenance options, including the Entyvio pen. Infusion and serious allergic reactions can happen during or after treatment. Entyvio may increase risk of infection, which can be serious. PML, a rare, potentially fatal brain infection, cannot be ruled out. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, sores, or are prone to infections. Liver problems can occur. Entyvio, relief, remission for real.
Eggs make all our family moments better, especially when they're Eggland's Best. Taste so fresh and amazing, deliciously superior nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best.
Inez, let me ask you, you're using Head & Shoulders, right?
Only when I see flakes. Then I switch back to my regular shampoo.
You should use it every wash, otherwise the flakes will come back.
He's right, you know.
Is that Tiny Troy?
The ingredients in Head & Shoulders keep the microbes that cause flakes that big.
Microbes, really?
They're always on your scalp. But good news, there's no itchiness, dryness, or flakes down here.
I love Tiny Troy and his tiny, gorgeous hair.
Make every wash count. And for stubborn dandruff, try Head & Shoulders Clinical Strength.
For over 50 years, Purina Cat Chow has been helping cats feel at home with trusted nutrition. No wonder it's the #1 dry cat food in America. Come home to Cat Chow.
He didn't start a business just to keep the lights on. Lucky for you, Shopify built with just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion at checkouts. Businesses that want to win, win with Shopify.
I'm Tony DeCopel. Join us for team coverage of all the big moments from the DNC tomorrow on CBS Mornings.
President Biden last last night touted his bipartisan infrastructure law that provided $350 billion for much-needed repairs to bridges and highways. Meanwhile, the mayor of one U.S. city is making an unusual pledge to knock down a highway and slow down traffic. As CBS's Scott McFarland reports in tonight's Eye on America, some leaders are trying to repair something more important than pavement.
Bishop Bernard Alex's church calls itself a home of restored believers.
Don't judge me by my container.
It's just a few miles from his boyhood home in Syracuse, New York.
They were gone.
A neighborhood Alex believes is in desperate need of its own restoration.
It was where people planted a garden.
Pioneer Homes, one of the nation's oldest public housing communities, was built in Syracuse in the 1930s, but then sliced apart in the 1960s when the government erected Interstate 81 right through it.
Through what? You took away a thriving, vibrant community. You took away the hope and the space of the people.
The highway still casts a massive shadow, separating it from white and affluent neighborhoods, hospitals, and schools.
You think they were trying to drive people out?
I do.
But only for a few years longer, because the government is about to level about 1.5 miles of this highway, including this part.
A CBS News review of federal records found these communities, which sit in the shadows of major highways, suffer higher pollution rates. The people have higher asthma rates. There are lower property values and lower incomes.
Syracuse is one of more than 130 communities nationwide that shared $3 billion in federal awards in 2023 to reconnect neighborhoods segregated by highway planners in the 1900s. From Portland, Oregon to Philadelphia, cities are capping stretches of expressways with parks and green space planted over the roadway.
It is a scar that goes through the heart of our city.
Syracuse Mayor Ben Walsh says his project is among the most ambitious.
We're driving beneath the highway.
Yeah.
Seems like an eyesore.
To say the least.
Costing more than $2 billion, they're rerouting I-81 around the city of Syracuse, then demolishing the current stretch, replacing it with a pedestrian-friendly grid of surface streets with shops, stop signs, and potentially new life for Pioneer Homes.
We can't undo the wrongs of the past, but we can try to get it right this time around. We have an opportunity to knit back the fabric of our cities and to bring people together.
While in other traffic-choked cities nationwide, highway expansion goes on.
Is it unavoidable this highway has to expand?
Yeah, it's unavoidable.
Like in North Charleston, South Carolina, where I-526, which runs through many mostly black neighborhoods, is set to be widened.
Some of these houses were already here.
Mayor Reggie Burgess says dozens of homeowners will need to be relocated, but the state is offering affected residents housing assistance, employment help, and college grants.
Of course, we don't want to displace people, but when we have to actually improve the infrastructure, sometimes we have to make decisions that are not accepted, but I think that people understand it. But he saved me.
Back in Syracuse, Bishop Alex hopes more people soon move back to the neighborhoods near Pioneer Homes to speed up a revitalization that comes with slower, lower roads. For Eye on America, I'm Scott McFarland in Syracuse, New York.
And we'll be right back from night 2 of the Democratic National Convention with much more ahead.
This portion of the CBS Evening News is brought to you by Freshpet. It's not dog food, it's food.
The season finale is upon us! Huzzah!
Dog food in thy fridge?
It's not dog food, it's Freshpet. Real meat, real veggies.
For thy beast?
There's always a betrayal in the finale.
So tell me about your heart attack.
Our heart attack was
scary. Never want to go through that again.
But we could.
With heart disease, you never know.
So we made changes.
Green juice.
Yeah, not a fan. Diet, exercise.
Statins helped, but our LDL-C, bad cholesterol, it was stuck. Just couldn't lower it enough. And high LDL-C
meant a real risk of another attack. So I said, let's ask our doctor about Repatha.
What can I say? Listen to your heart.
Repatha plus a statin dramatically lowers LDL-C by 63% and significantly drops the risk of having a heart attack. Do not take Repatha if you are allergic to it. Repatha can cause serious allergic reactions. Signs include trouble breathing or swallowing or swelling of the face. Most common side effects include runny nose, sore throat, common cold symptoms, flu or flu-like symptoms, back pain, high blood sugar, and redness, pain, or bruising at the injection site.
We won't let another heart attack set us back.
And neither should you.
Listen to your heart. Lower your LDL-C and your risk with Repatha. Talk to your doctor.
With Claritin, relieving your allergies is a walk in the park. Get fast, all-day relief of your worst allergy symptoms, like nasal congestion. Live Claritin Clear.
Labor Day mattress deals are happening now at Ashley. Save up to $1,200 on select mattress purchases. Plus, get 0% interest for 5 years on in-store purchases. With the best mattress brands under one roof, Ashley has you and your sleep covered. Shop more deals in-store and online.
Oh, these factory floor mats? They're just as good as WeatherTech. Just as good as WeatherTech. They're just as good as WeatherTech. Just as good. Just as good as WeatherTech. Just as good.
Are these factory floor mats just as good as WeatherTech?
Yeah, no.
Nothing comes even close to laser-measured WeatherTech floor liners. They offer the ultimate protection, front, back, and even up the sides. For a full line of premium American-made products, order at WT.com.
Wow. Incredible. Amazing. My go-to is Lumify eye drops.
Lumify dramatically reduces redness.
In 1 minute.
And look at the difference.
My eyes look brighter and whiter.
For up to 8 hours.
Lumify, it's kind of amazing.
See for yourself.
When you have moderate to severe eczema, it's okay to show off. With Dupixent, show off your clearer skin and less itch. Because you have plenty of reasons to show off your skin. With Dupixent, the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists and allergists, you can stay ahead of your eczema. It helps block a key source of inflammation inside the body that can cause eczema to help heal your skin from within. Many adults saw 90% clearer skin. Some even achieved long-lasting clearer skin and fast itch relief after first dose. Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems, such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. Show off to the world. Ask your eczema specialist about Dupixent.
Tonight, Colbert's live in Chicago after the DNC with Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi and House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries. Live tonight on CBS.
Finally, tonight, the theme of Day 2 at the Democratic National Convention is a bold vision for America's future. Democrats want to outline that this year's election is not just a choice between two candidates. It's a choice between two very different visions of America. Tonight's speakers will highlight the idea that America's best days lie ahead, culminating with the keynote address from former President Barack Obama. Our coverage continues on CBS News 24/7 and right here on CBS at 10 p.m. Eastern. That's all for tonight's CBS Evening News. I'm Nora O'Donnell in Chicago. We'll see you later tonight.
We would never hit 12 drunk.
Clutch it up drunk? Not a chance. Do a stoppie drunk? We would never drift drunk. So you should never drive drunk. Drive sober or get pulled over.
We provide specialty level care in anything from wisdom tooth removal to dental implant placement to more complex corrective jaw surgeries.
Trying to make it as easy of an experience as you can go through. We're the most experienced clinic in the region for these types of procedures. If you or your family member needs wisdom teeth removed, tooth extraction, dental implants, you found the right place. We'd be happy to see you here.
We work closely with your general dentist. Have a discussion with your dentist about a referral to us.
Celebrating 70 years, we're News 8 Now.
Right now it's 6 Democrats at the DNC on Wisconsin's 3rd congressional district race. And vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance makes another stop in Wisconsin.
Watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now at 6.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for News 8 Now at 6. I'm Emily Brown. Ken is on assignment. The former Monroe County deputy facing sexual assault charges pled not guilty today in La Crosse Circuit Court. 29-year-old Aaron Yang is charged with allegedly having sexual contact with a 16-year-old female in 2023. He is charged with 2 counts of third-degree sexual assault, child enticement/sexual contact, and sexual intercourse with a child 16 or older. Yang will be back in court on December 5th. Well, a little cooler out today. We had a good amount of cloud coverage today, and it made for cooler temps, but we will be heating up later on in the week, Greg.
Yeah, with a high cloud cover that we had today, it kept our temperatures more into the mid to upper 70s, which is below average. We should be around low 80s, so that's why it felt a little cooler. But overall, still very pleasant conditions, speaking of for the middle of August right now. For this evening, just that high cloud cover out there. We'll continue to see that, getting back down to 63 at 11 p.m., so still pleasant, very pleasant conditions. Same for Eau Claire, too. That cloud cover will be out there, but high clouds, still some sun until it sets. Otherwise, getting back down to 61 with some light winds. Overall, cloud cover is because of a system out to the west. We're not getting the precipitation from it. It's going to stay to the west, but we're getting the cloud cover overhead, and there's your temperatures, upper 60s to low 70s in most areas. Some areas did get close to 80. As we kind of zoom out, you can kind of see that activity pushes all the way to the west. It's pushing to the southeast. So we'll see this cloud cover continue overnight, but it will start to decrease a little bit after midnight. So we set up to the potential to see some more morning fog once again. Temperatures maybe a little cooler, more 40s out there, low 50s as you wake up tomorrow morning. Now we should be up to about 83 for this time. Right now we're not even close, and for the most part a lot of this month we haven't been that close. But that's going to change as we go towards the weekend, and we'll kind of break down what those temperatures look like and the humidity levels a bit later in the broadcast.
Oh boy, looking forward to that. Thank you, Greg. Wisconsin's delegation at the Democratic National Convention is serving up optimism for one of the state's congressional districts to turn blue this fall. Ken Kozarowski is in Chicago with more.
The Democratic National Convention obviously makes electing Kamala Harris as president the top priority, and Wisconsin party leaders know the lure of a presidential election means good things for down-ballot races as well. And that's especially key for Wisconsin's 3rd Congressional District, which is considered the only flippable House seat in the state of Wisconsin. But can partisan primary winner Rebecca Cook be that candidate to flip the district back to blue after 2 years of Derek Van Orden? We asked members of Western Wisconsin's delegation to find out.
She's got a really good chance of winning, and we're going to make it happen.
Governor Evers and Western Wisconsin Dems are all confident Eau Claire's Rebecca Cook will flip the 3rd district. And it starts with the national spotlight Kamala Harris and Tim Walz gave Eau Claire for their 2nd rally as a duo.
12,000 people show up for the Eau Claire rally, and in my hometown, you don't see that kind of turnout for a political rally. Maybe for Country Jam or Rock Fest, but not for a political rally, and I think that shows the enthusiasm there is for the top of the ticket.
Some of their confidence comes from their belief most voters just don't like Congressman Derek Van Orden. They see Cook's dairy farmer and waitress background as an asset. 3rd District Chair William Garcia says Cook's strength is talking one-on-one with voters because she knows their struggles.
Her story is so relatable to voters. And then she's talking about the exact same issues that we are talking about with Kamala Harris, making life just a little easier with better access to health care, lower prescription drug costs.
And with 6 UW campuses in the district, a younger candidate who calls for working across the aisle is hitting home with 3rd District students.
We know how to have conversations with people across the aisle because we have to every day. We don't get to live in a little bubble like in cities. We don't get to just be around like-minded people all the time. You learn in church basements and at the grocery store just how to talk to your neighbors. And Rebecca grew up in a community like that.
Dems say the numbers back that up. 61,000 people voted in the 3rd District primary 2 years ago. This year, 83,000.
Just that is almost double the number that Brad Pfaff lost to Van Orden.
The other numbers that matter are the ones with a dollar sign in front of them. Last election, the National Democrats pulled money from Brad Pfaff's campaign late in the race. With Wisconsin as such a focal point this summer, Garcia says there's no way that history repeats itself.
They pulled money and they sent it out to protect seats that lost by a whole lot more than Brad Pfaff lost by. And so they're looking at that seat. They know they screwed up 2 years ago, and they're going to make it up to us this time.
It all has Democrats believing Cook will serve up a win in November. For News 8 Now, I'm Ken Kozarowski.
Congressman Pocan said because Wisconsin has such a late partisan primary, that party money from outside the state is crucial to helping Cook muster resources against an incumbent. Day one of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago capped off last night with a speech from President Joe Biden. In his almost 1 hour speech, Biden highlighted his 50 years of public service, touching on 60 million new jobs created and his infrastructure package. He exclaimed that, quote, "The best days are ahead of us, that democracy has prevailed, democracy has delivered, and now democracy must be preserved." Sarah Godlewski is proud of Joe Biden's accomplishments.
I was proud to be a Democrat and proud to be an American. Joe Biden has dedicated his life to public service, and he got things done. And he not only talked about the infrastructure package, but how he lowered the cost of prescription drugs.
President Biden officially endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, as the Democratic candidates. Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance made another stop in Wisconsin today to speak to a crowd of law enforcement in Kenosha. Vance highlighted Trump's support of police while attacking Democratic leadership for being what he called soft on crime. Republican Representative Brian Stile, Wisconsin Senate candidate Eric Hovde, and Kenosha County Sheriff David Zorner joined Vance on the stage. Hovde echoed Vance's sentiment of supporting the police and being tough on crime.
I support law enforcement. President Trump, J.D. Vance will always have your back, and we will never incorporate such a crazy idea as defund the police.
Now, today was Vance's third trip to the battleground state this month. Residents in Wisconsin are being urged to check their water quality online. Today, the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources announced the Wisconsin Water Explorer. The Water Explorer is a web-based tool that shows the water quality of local lakes or rivers. The tool provides insight into current conditions, analyzes data, and makes automatic reports. People who are interested in water quality monitoring in their area can join the DNR's Citizen Lake Monitoring Network. According to the La Crosse County Health Department's annual overdose fatality review, overdose deaths have increased by 45% in 2023 compared to the previous year. 55 people died from a drug overdose in 2023. Synthetic opioids like fentanyl were involved in 85% of those deaths. 3/4 of those who died from an overdose had more than one substance in their system at the time of death. The deaths were most common among those ages 25 through 64. Ukraine's surprise offensive, how Ukraine's forces pushed into Russia after the break.
Now is the time to finally get the pizza oven or fire table you've been looking at. Come to La Crosse Fireplace Company's end of the year clearance. In-stock fire tables and wood-fired pizza ovens are starting at 25% off. La Crosse Fireplace Company, because your place is by the fire.
Life has become too expensive. Groceries and gas have gotten out of control, and red tape is killing the economy. But fortunately, our Congressman Derek Van Orden is fighting for solutions to make living more affordable for us in Wisconsin. He's advocating for common sense bills that would make everyday items like gas and groceries more affordable.
Now, Congress has an opportunity to lower costs by cutting red tape. Tell Congressman Van Orden to keep working to lower costs and support the Red Tape Reduction Act.
Drive into summer with a new Honda Accord Hybrid, CR-V Hybrid, or the all-new Civic Hybrid. Take a vacation, staycation, or just a weekend drive with the windows down. Whatever you do, make it epic with Honda. The 2024 Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com Best Overall EV and Hybrid brand. So act now. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or hurry into the Honda Summer Event.
Now is the time to finally get the pizza oven or fire table you've been looking at. Come to La Crosse Fireplace Company's end of the year clearance. In-stock fire tables and wood-fired pizza ovens are starting at 25% off. La Crosse Fireplace Company, because your place is by the fire.
Troops involved in Ukraine's surprise push into Russian territory showed CBS correspondent Ian Lee, without revealing their location, how they did it. We should mention that Ukraine's army reviewed our video but had no control over Ian's reporting. Ian has the details from the Russia-Ukraine border.
This road carries more than troops and supplies. It's transporting the hopes of a nation. A vital supply line connecting Ukraine with its offensive in Russia's Kursk region. Our journey to the border reveals the high cost of war.
Just looking around at the horizon, you can see plumes of smoke coming from different directions.
As we arrive at the last checkpoint, we're told a Russian glide bomb has hit in the distance.
We are right on the border with Russia, and if the amount of military hardware is anything to go by, this offensive shows no sign of slowing down. As far as Russia from here?
Скільки метрів звідси Russia? 50 meters.
50 meters.
This is as far as we go.
Around 2 weeks ago, Russia was in control of that side of the border. 50 yards down, that's Russian territory. But as you can see from the damage here, Ukrainian forces smashed through this point and they're pushing deeper into the Kursk region.
Tucked in the surrounding dense forests, mortar teams support the Ukrainian troops pushing forward. And just beyond this border crossing, Ukraine claims to have captured nearly 500 square miles of Russian territory. A buffer zone Kyiv hopes will protect residents in the region. Ian Lee, CBS News on the Ukraine-Russia border.
A ribbon-cutting ceremony in Eau Claire, the unveiling of a new space that's bringing community together.
Pleasant conditions continue for the rest of the week, but we are looking at hot and humid conditions returning for the weekend. I'll break down what that means for temperature-wise and if we got any precipitation in the forecast. That all coming up on your First Warn Weather Update after the break.
The La Crosse Area Builders Association's Parade of Homes, August 22nd through the 25th, with 12 different projects including new homes. Search LABA Parade of Homes for more information and tickets and discover your home's potential.
If you're in a nursing home, you only have 5-6 month life expectancy. Almost nobody in a nursing home is in a point to vote.
Listen, Eric Hovde, Mr. Fancy California banker, I earned my retirement, but you said you would absolutely cut Social Security and even raise the retirement age. Now you want to take away our right to vote? Eric Hovde, you're one heck of a jerk. Will never have my vote. DSCC is responsible for the content of this ad.
There are trucks, and then there's the GMC Sierra, available with the connected driving experience and the world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra. It's the truck. Or get $3,500 purchase cash on select GMC Sierra models. Or get a total of $6,000 purchase allowance when you trade in an eligible vehicle.
Visit your best choice GMC dealer today.
Okay, 500 deluxe garden gnomes. Wow.
I only meant to order 5. There's not enough money in my account for these. I'm gonna get charged.
2 things I just can't deal with: overdraft charges and garden gnomes. But your BMO Smart Advantage checking account gives you an extra day to avoid an overdraft fee.
Nice to see a bank cutting people some slack.
Well, mistakes happen, and we give you time to correct them.
So you don't like gnomes, huh? What about that one?
That one I like a lot.
BMO. At Taco John's, we've got beef with other places that start with frozen beef. That's why we start with only 100% American never frozen beef, simmered in our signature spice blend. Say no to thaw and yes to 100% American beef at Taco John's.
Darling, I believe everything's gonna be alright. No need to worry because you got somebody on your side. We all need a fam, we all need a crew. When you're in a jam, don't know what to do. Just reach out your hand and we'll see you through. Doesn't matter where you're at, we got your back.
With a Medica health plan, you're not just covered, you're cared for.
Thank you for watching News 8 Now. Expect more.
The Eau Claire Community Center is getting some new additions. Today, the Eau Claire Chamber of Commerce and the City of Eau Claire hosted a ribbon-cutting ceremony for the new SCS Community Center. The Community Center features a 24-hour access fitness center, an outdoor kitchen area with a grill, and a gas fireplace. The Director of Business Development says the new center will help the community come together and have a space to build connections.
The residents have access to this area to come together because we really are trying to build a multi-generational community. So they have a place to gather with their neighbors. If they're having a larger party, they have some space that's available that they can gather in.
Several other multifamily projects are still under construction, and if you're interested in learning about apartment availability, you can visit their website. We'll have those linked on our digital platforms. A little cool off we had today. Not feeling quite like August, but we do have a slight warm up tomorrow, Greg.
We got a little bit warmer tomorrow, but I think the bigger temperature change will come towards the weekend when we probably will see 90 again. If you thought we haven't felt a lot of 90s this summer, you're probably pretty much correct, because 8 in La Crosse, 2 in Eau Claire. This is talking about June, July, and August. I think we'll add to some totals, but far different from last year where we were going through the drought when we had a lot of 90s, given that although our dew points were much lower, we didn't have the humidity, so we didn't have a heat index, but we saw a lot more 90s with going tomorrow. But as we go throughout the next few days, it's going to remain the same. Really the pattern with the northwest flow coming around into the area will keep us mild. Occasionally some of these weak little systems push close to it. We get cloud cover, but they fall apart, and that's what we're kind of seeing right now is cloud cover from the system with the precipitation staying to the west. That'll be the trend here for the next couple days until we get that ridge to push further east. Still got some overnight fog potential. Pleasant conditions continue through Thursday, even Friday, a little bit more mild. Might have a shower come through Thursday. That's when another system comes just north of us, but I think that'll be a very small chance. Overall, this is just high cloud cover. There's your precipitation well to the west. That's going to stay there. We're just going to see this cloud cover continue through the evening, but you'll notice a thinning trend as we go throughout midnight and beyond. That we'll see less clouds as you wake up. We'll also have some fog potential, but temperatures getting back into the 40s in some of the colder spots. Otherwise, we'll see 50s in most other spots. Then as we wake up tomorrow morning, the winds turn around to the southeast. Cloud cover more in the morning, but I think there'll be plenty more sun in the afternoon. So temperatures may be a degree or two, maybe up to 3 degrees warmer probably tomorrow afternoon, given the less cloud cover out there. Still not quite to where we should be. Upper 70s, maybe some 80s out there. All in all, it still should be quiet as we go through Wednesday evening and pleasant conditions. Less cloud cover going in, and then really it's going to be a repeat Thursday, probably with more clouds. Speaking of fog potential, I think tonight with that little bit of turn in the wind, I think it'll be more of river valley type fog, but still it's between about 5 to about 8 a.m. That's when you can start to see some of this visibility drop, occasionally down to 1 to 2 miles, maybe less in certain areas. You can see some of the Wisconsin River area, other river areas that might see that visibility drop occasionally down to a quarter. So similar type of trend. Won't be widespread or dense pretty much for all the areas, but we'll still see that. Now the jet stream, as I mentioned, really begins to push up to the north, and that will allow the temperatures to continue to rise as we get closer to the weekend. It does weaken the jet, so we're not expecting any systems to come through, but it keeps to the north. So that's going to begin to pull some of this warm air that's been to the south. And if you look at the temperature trend departure from average, it's going to start pushing back up well above average as we get towards Friday a little bit. But then the weekend, definitely 10 degrees above, maybe even 15. We'll see. That means you're looking at about mid-90s potentially for some areas. Along with that, the dew points are going to come up. That means the humidity is going to start rising, and we'll have a little bit of a heat index. So muggy conditions are coming back, but not for tomorrow. Few degrees. Otherwise, we're going to see temperatures in the mid to upper 70s for most locations. Less clouds in the afternoon, minus a little bit of fog as we go throughout the evening hour. The morning hour. Otherwise, we're going to see that heat and humidity arrive by Saturday and Sunday and continue into Monday. The one thing note, there's not much of a rain chance in the forecast right now. We'll see if that changes towards the later half of next week, but overall, summer is coming back for at least 3 or 4 days, so we're going to see some 90s.
Okay, I like what I see. I'm going to like what I feel too. Thank you, Greg. Coming up in sports, a new voice in the huddle doesn't mean any lowered expectations. Find out why the Aquinas Blugolds volleyball team is hoping for a big year. Up next.
Proper installation of your new windows make a difference. The team at Clear Choice Window and Home Solutions are factory trained to make sure your windows are installed to last. Call or stop into the showroom for your free estimate.
Before she was the most liberal U.S. Senator, Kamala Harris was the liberal San Francisco prosecutor, the most progressive in all of California. She let an MS-13 gang member go, who then murdered a father and his 2 sons. She agreed to release another felon, who then committed murder. And Kamala even protected illegal alien drug dealers so they could escape deportation. Kamala Harris, a dangerous San Francisco liberal. Make America Great Again, Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
The Make It Ford summer sales event is on. So make it your best summer ever with Ford. Get your ideal combination of power and capability. And experience hands-free highway driving technology with Ford Blue Cruise, available on select vehicles. It's the Make It Ford summer sales event, so make it yours. Make it now. Get up to $7,400 in total savings on a new 2024 Ford F-150, only at your local Northland Ford dealers.
T-Mobile coverage in my area is wonderful.
We have 8 acres, and it gives you peace of mind to know that you're going to have a reliable signal.
We enjoy hiking. We enjoy the outdoors. The coverage has been great.
And after investing billions to light up our network from big cities to small towns, T-Mobile is America's largest and fastest 5G network. See for yourself. Try T-Mobile's network free for 3 months. Your phone, our network, no strings.
Everyone deserves the fastest, most reliable internet speeds, regardless of where they live. That's why Spectrum offers the fastest speeds in more neighborhoods than any other provider.
Switch to Spectrum Internet for only $49.99 a month. Call 1-833-376-4999.
With Spectrum Internet, you can power all of your devices to enjoy streaming, video chatting, and gaming. I rely on Spectrum Internet. You should too. Call now.
Covering all of the exciting action from your community, here's News 8 Now Sports.
Back in 2016, Danny Dolan was one of the leaders of the Aquinas State volleyball team. A year later, after she graduated, Nellie George took over as the new head coach. Now Dolan is succeeding George as the newest leader of the Blue Gold team. Today was day 2 of practice for Aquinas, and there were smiles all over the floor as excitement is high within the program for what's to come. Last year, the Blue Golds fell 1 game short of making the state tournament, but a ton of production returns from that group a season ago. Danny Dolan is very familiar with the team as she coached most of them in the JV ranks for the last couple of years. Now she takes over at the varsity level, and Dolan hopes to lead them to a similar path her and her team went down 8 years ago.
I said to the girls today when we met this morning that this program meant so much to me when I was in high school and I played for this team, and there's no greater feeling than reaching the milestones that you set for yourself at the beginning of the year.
She also said she's spoiled to inherit such a talented roster, but the feeling is mutual for the players. They are excited to play for their new head coach and hope to make it to the Resch Center this time around.
I feel like this transition has been super seamless, and I feel like Danny was the best person for this job. Obviously, I loved having Nellie as my coach for 3 years, but they have a lot of similarities, and I'm just super excited to work with Danny, too.
I think playing in a state game would be so fun and just a really cool experience for us all to have. And we were so close last year, so I'm really hoping that this year we're able to work it out and make it there.
Aquinas will go for their 6th consecutive 20-win season. The Blue Golds get going with their first game a week from today at home against Holman.